Hey everybody, I'm fixing this crazy loop-de-loop I got going in my hair. I hope that light, can I pivot? Yeah, I can pivot, sort of, so we can get the light okay. Gosh, it's so grainy, guys. I'm gonna have to get a new camera at some point. I just use my webcam. Hey Soko, what is up? So, um, gosh, alright, this is about, I've been thinking about this lately. Signs that I was depressed for a long time, um, reaching all the way back into at least puberty, if not through childhood. But let's not go into the childhood thing. um, but oh no, Soko, you didn't leave me a weird message. You were cool. I'm glad you left that message. It's cool. It's totally fine. Um, All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. We'll start with a few comedic things just to keep the tone light and interesting and keep it moving. So, what kind of stimulated this idea was I saw, and I'm really sorry, I forget the comedian, but I saw this clip of a comedian on Instagram where he talking about his Cuban mother, and he grew up in Florida, and he was saying how you could never, when your mom escaped communism, you can never have a bad day. And he would come home from school and be like, Mom, I had a bad day. And she'd be like, what, did someone try to take your freedoms or something? And that clicked. It reminded me of this because, believe it or not, guys, in high school, my senior year, I was voted most friendly and best Christian. Now, I didn't apply for these, okay? It was just one of those things where they have the list. They do this here. I don't know if they do this in other states. And then they put every student's name in the class on there. Hey, Brad. And then they just hand it out to everybody in the class, and everyone votes from every name in the class, and they just write it in. It's like it's a question in an empty space. And somehow I was voted most friendly and best Christian. And I just think that the reason why I was voted best Christian was because I was super kind to everybody, which is just the most friendly, and I think it was for the same kind of reason. By the time I was in high school, man, I had, and I didn't know it was so abnormal. It sounds so crazy, but I had experienced already so many things that that were traumatizing, like crazy life situations, and and so everything in high school and all the problems, and that people were worried about these insecurities and things, just seemed so like, I don't want to use petty because that's like a mean word, kind of, but it just seems so minuscule, and I just wanted everyone. High school to me just seemed so safe. It seemed like such a friendly place, considering the personal life that I had already experienced by that time. And so I just was nice to everybody. I just wanted everyone to know you're fine. It's okay. You're cool, man. Are you having a hard time in that class? Oh, was that person mean to you? Don't worry about it. You're totally cool. I just was really accepting of everybody. Um, I wanted everyone to feel good and to feel okay, because that was just, everything. It was so important to me. I wanted to feel okay. I just wanted, and so somehow trying to make other people feel okay helped me feel like everything was okay. But that's why, like, that was probably a sign right there, like, I was just so, that was my only personality, was funny, trying to be funny and be nice. So I'm just trying, those are the only emotions that I showed publicly, really. And oh well, besides exasperation, I had a huge problem with authority when I was a teenager. And which probably stems back from all my traumatic events. But and I think that was probably a sign right there. Another really funny quick one is just that I read The Bell Jar, which is a notorious novel describing depression. And I read it in my early 20s, and I was just like, I don't get it. Like, what was wrong with her? And that was the first conscious red flag. Like, I dismissed it, like, whatever, because I didn't let people tell me about myself. Because I think that kind of trait protected me, honestly, from I think I would have gone introspective at any time earlier than I did, then I wouldn't have accomplished all the things that I was able to. I lived in an ignorant bliss. It wasn't bliss, but I lived in an ignorance that protected me for a really long time. And I just see that now as a gift. I don't feel shamed about it. I understand why everyone else saw it and I didn't. I just had, I just didn't see it. I didn't go inside myself, but it was all these little flags. One of them was I read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, who, committed suicide and had written this a memoir about her time working in am I thinking of the right one? Yeah. Okay. I always get, for some reason, my mind mixes up Virginia Woolf and Sylvia Plath, but I think it's the right one. But anyway, and about her memoir where she ended up being in a mental hospital at the end and for depression, and I just didn't get it. I did, like, she was describing herself, and I was like, that's just how I feel. It's literally what I thought. Like, I don't get why everyone's so upset about this book, or there's so feelings about this book. She seems fine to me. She seems pretty normal. Uh, um, let's see. Another one was I stayed very busy, very busy, um, especially in high school, and I didn't recognize. There were lots of reasons why I did it in high school, but it started to become more obvious once I got in my 20s how busy I was, and how it was really just a matter of distraction. And I would surround myself with these people. I didn't do it consciously, that needed assistance or help or care or encouragement in some way, so that I could distract myself with them and I didn't have to go inward, because I could not, in my early 20s, I could not be alone. And I remember recognizing this and explaining it to my boyfriend, and at the time, and I didn't understand why. I was just trying to be honest about it. I have a marker on my finger. About, for some reason, when I was alone, like by myself, um, like I just felt such intense pain and such sorrow, and I had no idea why. I honestly had no idea why, and instead of thinking about that or trying to fix that, I just um, tried to never be alone. Because people were distracting, and that was probably a huge sign right there. Just for someone, if someone's like constantly trying to keep themselves busy, um, and can't, and then like burns out all the time, or cannot be alone very well, like alone and relaxing and not being busy doing something, it's probably just escaping stuff going on within themselves. And all this stuff seems so obvious now, but I didn't know anything. I mean, I'm 39, and so people of my generation, or at least like Gen X and early millennials, like the mental health was like witchcraft in the Midwest. Like, people still didn't weren't educated. Mental health seemed very new and very woo woo, and lots of people did not even believe that mental health was a thing. The saying like, "Oh, it's just in your head," was a saying. "Oh, it's just in your head." And what they meant by that is that you're choosing to feel that way or something. Like, it wasn't even that deep. It was just, it was to dismiss it. Like, you can't trust, it's not real. That's what it meant. It's in your head. It meant it's not real. And so anyway, I didn't know anything about anxiety. I didn't know anything about depression. I never had to take a psychology class in high school. I somehow circumvented that. um, hey Brad. Oh, he's saying good night. Good night. Thanks for saying hi. um, And so anyway, I mean, it seems so obvious now, but I had never talked to anyone. There was never like an opportunity, and like people, like educators and things now are more trained and more exposed to these ideas and can spot these things. And it was just all very new back then. And so I don't think people spotted it either. I was very, very good at masking it, very good at hiding it. And uh, anyway, I should have known though, you know how like birds of a feather flock together, you know, like they always say somehow the people that smoke weed find each other before they know that they smoke weed. Or all of the weirdos find each other, that kind of thing. And I always, looking back, I definitely always dated boys that were depressed. And I mean, I didn't recognize it. But looking back, I could probably say that about every one of my boyfriends, especially in adulthood. Um, which I think is a huge revelation now. I don't think I could date someone, and that with them accompanied hating themselves, some kind of self hatred or whatever. And I don't think I could do that anymore. I don't think I could date another person that doesn't appreciate their value. You know, not that I mean everyone has issues with themselves, but at least that sees their value. I think that it's like it, and I probably just a reflection in me, you know, because I've gone inside and I see my value and all. Anyway, blah 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 blah. But that was another thing is I could not be alone, and that's probably a huge sign of depression because I didn't want to face my depression. Um, let's see. Uh, oh, okay. So I'm just gonna skip ahead. So in 2016, I consciously made a decision that was for the betterment of someone else and for myself because we were both miserable and just like in this cycle of drowning in despair to exit this situation. And I knew, and when I did that, it was like choosing depression. I couldn't fight it. The depression of losing this person was so strong, and the fact that I consciously chose it, or the fact that it was so strong, combined with all of the hidden depression that I had already been dealing with, um, it was just like a black and white. Like after that choice was made, and I separated myself from this person, I was just depressed, and I knew that I had a reason to be that I was conscious of. I wasn't conscious of any of my past reasons of being depressed. I just thought it was this person. But when I made that choice, it was like complete opposite. All I wanted to do was be alone, and I didn't have a problem being alone anymore. It was just like night and day. I was just like, no, I just want to be alone, you know. and and just be in my depression, and I couldn't fight it anymore. And uh, it's crazy how that happened. Once you become aware of it, I just accepted it. And I've always been a person, even when I was younger, and I was told, you know, not to feel my feelings or to hide my feelings or whatever, or not to cry or not to whatever. I always, you know, stood up for myself and said, no, if I have feelings, I need to feel them. For some reason, I knew that. I don't know why, because it was not taught to me and it was not modeled to me. But I just stood up for my, like, I was so observant, and I saw how other people hiding all of these things. I saw in other people, but I didn't see it in myself. And and I thought I saw how it caused them problems, you know. And I was like, this is, you should feel your feelings, you know, and you should let them out, otherwise they stay in you. It was as simple as that, really, all that I understood at the time. And so when I made that conscious decision when I was an adult, um, I allowed myself to feel my depression. And then that's what caused me to go inward. And then that's what led me on this huge journey that's all pretty much, the highlights of it are documented on my channel. Where I went in and discovered, oh, here's some depression. Oh, fuck, here's some more. And then it just kept going and going and going. And what's so funny is that when I was living in this period of not realizing that I had depression, that I was depressed, I was frightened, so scared of anything dark. I couldn't watch scary movies. I would have nightmares for days. And I would be scared in the day and the night, even as an adult. I was scared of the dark as an adult for a really long time, and I was frightened by anything that was dark like that. And I couldn't watch horror movies or anything. And then um, once I became aware of my depression and I accepted being alone, again, it was just like a night and day. It was just, I can't describe how quickly this inversion took place. And I suddenly just wanted to be alone. I suddenly accepted my depression, and I was no longer afraid at the same time. I lost all my fear. It was just a huge, crazy acceptance. I could watch scary movies, and I was just like, oh, this is funny. This is fine. I wasn't scared of the dark anymore. Uh, Gosh, I just think more about why those two things coincided. But uh, anyway, I don't know why I decided to make this video. I guess I just wanted to share that. I don't really know what the point is unless it helps someone, in some way, just sharing my experience. I don't feel, I want to say I don't feel depressed anymore. I actually told a psychiatrist that I was able to see a couple times, um, that I don't feel depressed anymore. The first therapist I had saw diagnosed me with major depressive disorder, and she didn't tell me. It wasn't until I went to a second therapist that she told me that that was on my list of diagnoses, and she took it off. But by the time I saw her, I had already been going to therapy for like 6 to 9 months, and I'd been through group, um, and anyway, she didn't think that I should be diagnosed with that anymore. But I can see why. I guess I could see remnants of it still, but it doesn't plague me, like it used to. And like I said, I don't feel it anymore. But before I just tried not to feel it, I guess. Maybe that's the difference. Death Thrash, hey, what's up? And anyway, I don't know. Maybe just to tell people that there's hope. Somehow that when you accept your depression, um, it feels better. That's weird. It feels better, and then that's your road to feeling better. I think is just accepting where you are and accepting the feelings that you have and allowing yourself to feel them, and knowing that you're not a bad person for it. You're not weird for it. It's okay, and it solved a lot of other problems for me. Even though that journey of going through and going through all the reasons why I had depression was so tough, and so many intense feelings and so many tears and whatever, and rage, but it was a hard, long journey. Gosh, it's been like 7 years. But I take a long time to do things, so don't take that like it's going to take you 7 years. Okay, lots of people are much quicker than I am at things. But anyway, if anyone else is still here, thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to make this real short tonight, and yeah, I hope this helps someone. Be nice to people. If someone annoys you with their niceness, with their over niceness, they might just be actually really depressed. So be gentle with them too. Good night. Oh, JR, new subscriber, vibing with what you're putting down. Welcome, JR. Thanks, man. Yeah, welcome. And good night. I'll see you guys later. Bye.